I'm going to give you the inside scoop on how dealers evaluate vehicles and show you how not to get tricked on your trade. There's a lot of information to cover, so make sure you stick around till the end. What is going on, my fellow tubers and viewers? If you haven't seen any of my previous videos, first of all, go ahead and check those out. Second of all, my name is Jeremiah, aka GMBullfrog, and I am a certified professional sales consultant, technology expert, and safety advocate with Silverthorne, Chevrolet, Buick, and GMC. Now go ahead and hit that bell button so you can subscribe to my channel and get all the updates on the latest GM products, detailed guides on how to use the in-vehicle technology, or any other information you may need to help you make an informed decision on your next vehicle. All right, so I want to start off by saying this video is meant to help you get the most out of your trade-in. It is in no way intended to bash car dealerships or make the auto industry look sleazy or dishonest. There's enough videos out there that try to make honest salesmen look like villains, and nobody wants to look like a villain. Well, maybe a little bit of a villain, as long as I gotta keep that stylish hat. Stars and moons are my jam. Okay, so all joking aside, the auto industry has changed tremendously in the past few years. I mean, it's people like this guy.
Now, I know what you're thinking, Stan. You're thinking, can I afford to buy a car like this? Huh, am I right? Seriously, Stan, you can't afford not to buy a car like this, and I'm going to make it easy on you. When you add this whole thing up, taking into account inflation rate, insurance savings, gas savings...
That gives salespeople a bad name. But the reality is, most of us aren't like that. We're just ordinary people trying to get by. Yes, there is a certain number of profit built into each vehicle, but that's how salespeople make a living and how the dealership keeps their lights on. It's no different than any other product that you would purchase on the market, except for you can negotiate the final price. So a good example would be, do you have any idea what it costs to actually make a bottle of purified water that you would purchase at a convenience store? According to BusinessInsider.com, it costs $1.50 to make 1,000 gallons of bottled water. One bottle is typically 16.9 ounces of water and retail costs between $1 and $3 a bottle. Doing the math, a company such as Pepsi, Coke, or Nestle will make roughly 7,530 bottles of water for only $1.50. And now I'm sure there is more cost associated with making smaller bottles, but if you retail price all the water at $1, you're looking at approximately a 200% profit margin increase. If you take that same logic and apply it to the auto industry, a $30,000 car should be priced at $90,000. And nobody wants to pay $90,000 for a $30,000 car. Okay, so don't get me wrong, there are some dishonest dealerships out there and salespeople that will tell you whatever they have to in order to sell you a vehicle. So it's your job, do your research before you go into a dealership so you can have a good idea of who you can and can't trust. Which that makes us a great time to transition into our first way to save money on your trade-in when dealing with a dealer. The number one way to save money, and this is a big one, so make sure you write it down, is to do your research. The best way to be prepared is to be informed. So to do this, what you should do is you should go to websites such as KBB, Edmunds.com, or Car Gurus, and use each of these websites to find out what your trade value is worth. A pro tip here is don't just use the information from a single website. Each one of these websites uses a different database to draw their information, so you may not get the same value on each individual website. So compare all three to get the best idea of what your value on your trade would actually be worth. Another good tip here would use sites such as AutoTrader or Cars.com to where you can compare your vehicle to vehicles out there that are similar so you can get an idea of what the retail value of your trade-in would be worth. And then once you know what the value of your trade-in is, then you have a good idea of what to sell it for, which leads us into our second point. When you're ready to trade in your vehicle, you basically have two options. The first being to trade it into a dealer, of course, and then to use that cash they give you as a down payment towards your next vehicle. The second option that you have is to sell the vehicle yourself. If you do want to sell the vehicle yourself, there's a couple things you should consider, and these are not going to apply to every single person in every situation possible. It's just kind of a general idea of things to consider before selling a vehicle yourself. So the positives to selling a vehicle yourself, number one being you have the absolute liberty and freedom to sell the vehicle to whoever for whatever you think is reasonable. The second thing being you more often than not will make more money on the actual sale of the vehicle than what you would have if you would have traded it in, since you don't have to worry about all the overhead costs the dealers have to worry about. So the downside to selling a vehicle yourself would of course be the amount of time and extra effort it takes to actually sell the vehicle. You also have to consider that within that time frame that you're trying to sell the vehicle, you're still responsible for the maintenance and upkeep of the vehicle, any extra advertising expenses you may have to promote your vehicle. If you still owe money on your vehicle, you're still responsible for those payments. And of course, you're still responsible for paying insurance on the vehicle, even though you're trying to sell it. And of course, let's not forget that you have to deal with strangers calling you, coming to your home, and most likely wanting to test drive your vehicle, which is going to open you up to a whole list of things that could potentially go wrong.
Why are you doing this to us? Because you were home.
Okay, so that probably won't happen, but there is a chance. So instead of risking death by weirdos in masks, let's go over your second option, which is, of course, trading it into a dealer. This is a much easier and safer option. The only thing you risk is feeling like you got ripped off, or, of course, actually getting ripped off in some cases. However, if you've done your proper research, then you can tackle this with confidence. And the more research you've done, the harder you can tackle. So are you going to be like this guy? Or are you going to be like this guy?
No! No what?
I didn't mean to hurt you. Coach told me to pretend.
So now that you've visited the dealership, you found the perfect vehicle. The next step is to hand your keys over to the appraiser so you can get your vehicle professionally appraised. And I've never experienced this in my personal life or at the dealership that I work at, but I have heard horror stories of people handing over their keys to the appraiser and then the salespeople don't ever give their keys back. They hold them hostage so they can't leave. If you ever ask for your keys and they don't hand them over to you immediately, walk away from any deal they throw on the table, because they are being entirely too pushy and most likely dishonest. So when an appraiser is appraising your vehicle, they're looking for anything that would entice or dissuade a potential buyer from purchasing your vehicle. There are ways to increase the trade value on your vehicle. I made a video on it. I'll post it down in the description below. Also, the things that appraisers look for is in my How Vehicle Value is Determined video. So if you haven't seen either one of those, post link down in the description below. Go ahead and check both of those out. After an appraiser has determined the condition of your vehicle, they're going to take the information they gathered, put it into a system, see what vehicles similar to yours are selling for out in the market, as well as what they could purchase for in auction. This number is going to serve as the actual cash value or the ACV of your trade-in. This number is going to serve as a starting point for what they're going to show you for your trade value. They also have to consider what's it going to cost to get the vehicle ready for resale. So this is going to be things like how much you have to pay a mechanic to look at the vehicle, approximately how much it's going to cost to repair the things that need to be fixed before we can put it out for resale, what's it going to cost to professionally detail the vehicle so it's nice and shiny for the next customer. After they've considered all these things, they're going to have the salesperson present you with a number for your trade-in. And here's another thing I would consider. It's kind of my personal preference and what I believe. But if you go to a dealership, they should present you with a formal document showing you the breakdown of what you're actually paying for. You know, what is the sales price of the vehicle? How much are taxes being added? Are there any additional fees included? I want to see those things in writing so I know exactly what I'm paying for. If a dealer does not show you these things, they're probably trying to hide something from you. So ask for a formal document so you can keep that for your records. This will force the dealer to be honest with you, and it'll show you something you can use to compare at another dealership if you choose to walk away. When the salesperson presents you with the numbers, you're going to see one of two different numbers for your trade. The first number is going to be the actual cash value, or ACV, and the second number is going to be a cash allowance. The ACV of your vehicle is the actual cash value. So what your vehicle actually costs, the wholesale amount for your vehicle, the real money for your vehicle. The cash allowance, on the other hand, is an inflated number to make you think you're getting more for your trade than you really are. And this is why that if you go to one dealership, they may appraise your trade for $4,000, but if you go to another dealership, they're going to appraise it for $6,000. That $2,000 is coming from somewhere. They're not just giving it to you out of the kindness of your heart. And if you want to know which one you're dealing with, there's one simple question you can ask, and that is, will you purchase my vehicle for this amount right here? If they tell you yes, actual cash value. If they tell you no, that's how you know you're dealing with a cash allowance. Whichever one you are dealing with at this point in the process, don't try to negotiate trade price. Don't try to negotiate selling price. You want to negotiate the out the door price. This is the one that's actually important because it's the one you're going to be responsible for paying. The other two numbers don't matter. It's the third number you want to worry about the most. Also, try to avoid negotiating on a payment stance. And I know payments are super important because you want to know if you can actually afford the vehicle to fit in with your lifestyle. The only reason I say try not to negotiate payments is because payment terms can change based on the financing situation. So you could have a higher interest rate or you could have a lower interest rate. You could want to finance for 36 months. You could want to finance for 84 months. That's going to drastically affect the amount you make for your payments. So just try to focus on the out the door price. If you're still in the searching process, it is okay to tell your salesperson a payment range that you want to be in. This will help eliminate vehicles that are way out of your price range. Help save you some time, help save the salesperson some time. There's no point in showing you a vehicle that costs $50,000 if you can only afford a $200 a month payment. Unless you have a whole bunch of money to put down as a down payment, that's just not going to happen. So save yourself some time and then use this to your advantage. And the last thing you may want to consider when trading in your vehicle, and I'll just go over this real quick, is the season in which you're trading your vehicle. If you have a fancy sports car, it's really not going to give you a whole lot of value if you're trying to trade it in December when the weather's cold or there's snow on the ground. On the flip side, during the winter months when there's typically more snow or rain, four-wheel drive or all-wheel drive vehicles are in a lot higher demand. So just keep this in mind if you're considering trading these type of vehicles. So if you understand how trading works, if you do your research before you head to the dealership, and you negotiate on an out-the-door price basis, you are sure to save yourself some time and a whole lot of money on your trade-in value. But that's all I got for you guys today. I hope you learned something from this video. I hope it makes you feel more comfortable with the trading process and makes going to a dealership less intimidating. If you learned something useful or you just had yourself a good laugh while watching this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up, like that video. Also, while you're here, don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you get access to all of my latest content. If there is anything you'd like to discuss in future videos, go ahead and leave a comment down in the comment section below. I am always open for suggestions on what people are wanting to see. But that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching, and remember to always drive safe out there. I hope you found this video helpful, and if you want to see more like it, click on the link over here for more helpful tips, tutorials, and vehicle demonstrations. If you have any questions or if there's anything you want featured in my next video, go ahead and leave a comment down in the comment section below. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button to get access to all my latest videos on the GM products. Thank you so much for your support, and drive safe out there.